This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Kicking off hour 2 of this Tuesday edition of Money Moves, live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sirius XM channel 158, alongside Jonathan Von Tobel. Stormy, Buonantony with you. Coming up in 30 minutes, VSiN's own Dustin Swedelson is going to stop by. He's got some NBA postseason bets as well as thoughts on the MLB card. We'll break down plenty of baseball coming up in 15 minutes as well. But going to start here with the NFL and NHL. Specifically football first here quickly, because they just can't get off of our radar any time of year. No matter how much we're trying to enjoy other sports, the NFL has to remain king. And the full schedule release will come out tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll react to that on Thursday with any movement that there might be price-wise on season win totals, and if there are batches of teams that, you know, have either like a handful of really difficult games all batched together, or
I think we should do our whole show
rest,
on it
road
Thursday.
splits, all that good stuff. That's your favorite thing?
Mm-hmm. Every single
one.
Let's see. So we have, how many teams are in the NFL? 32. 32. We have 8 segments of the show. So what is that like?
272 games divided by 8.
Yeah, like every second, just NFL. Let's go.
Amazing.
I'm so excited for this.
I know you say that tongue in cheek. I actually am excited because we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I love the schedule release videos that the teams do put out, and we'll get kind of that flurry of them come Wednesday night. Also, a good reminder that coming up next week, Derek Stevens, Mike Palm, Jeff Benson are all going to do their reveal on Follow the Money for what the guarantee is for all the contests that are going to take place. We are almost at that time already where you should be thinking about how many entries you want to do and what you're Circa Survivor, Circa Million, all of those different things. But so far,
we're going to do a show one.
Yes.
We're going to do show Survivor.
That's what I was going to ask. Are you wanting to do Survivor or the Pick'em?
It's always a debate, because for our realm, like content wise, it's better to do the millions just because we know we're going to be alive.
Because it's a season-long sweat.
Correct. So that's always like part of it. We could always just do one each. Like,
That's
I mean, like a Survivor and
because we're
going to
do them anyways, but it's just, do we want to do one together? I think we could do that.
So, yeah. So then at least if and when, you know, I'm just going to throw one out there. I don't know. The Bengals, again, is 12.5-point favorites in week 1, lose, and we get eliminated. Like, at least we'll have the rest of the season for the Circa Million.
Historic exits for people this past year. Just the amount of people in the field. And before we kind of like reset for next year, I'll have to go back and track down all of those percentages once again. But it was those first few weeks were just absolute demolition for Circa Survivor. And then it tails out, right? Like it always does.
I also want to be on a team with you, so maybe then you can see me in the background of the documentary.
You're the worst.
Not all of us get to intro documentaries by riding in limos and whatnot.
I did feel pretty fancy last year.
I mean, look, my star is rising. Cool. I was in the commercial, so
yeah, I wasn't in the commercial, so I didn't even get a request. Mm-hmm. It's not even like we had schedule conflicts. I just wasn't even invited. I thought Derek liked me.
I mean, you, unlike me, I have something that you don't. I was off at 8 p.m. that night.
I thought you were going to say good hair.
No.
But not here nor there. That can't compete with what
my judge of hair is not great, but I feel like you would fall under good hair.
I think I'm just I just have a lot of it, so that plays in my favor. But style-wise, I don't have that gift. So far, the league has announced 12 games. Mm-hmm. We told you yesterday about the season opener. The Eagles, a 7-point home favorite against the Cowboys on September 4th, total 46.5. We also have the international slate of 7 games that are out. The one big one that really stood out there, first time in NFL history, a team is going to play back-to-back international games in 2 different countries. So the Vikings first will play the Steelers in Dublin on September 28th. Dublin. And then the following week, October 5th, they'll take on the Browns in London.
So this one, I'm looking at the Dublin one. So yeah, so again, what I'm going to be interested in, and this is why you like these, right? I'm not breaking any news, but it gives you an idea, like power rating wise, where these teams are, especially when you're talking about like Vikings, Steelers, and then Vikings, Browns. You get 2 teams, you get 1 team that is going to be on 2 neutrals, and then you get 2 other teams to give you an idea of where we're at. The line for Steelers and Vikings have the Vikings as a 1.5-point favorite over Pittsburgh on a neutral. Obviously, we're assuming that is J.J. McCarthy versus Aaron Rodgers. Right? Like, is that the
fair to assume?
Is that maybe the assumption there? Which to me immediately actually does kind of stick out as interesting because I don't know. I mean, we don't know what J.J. McCarthy is at this point now.
Do we go under 42.5 with
that
an
or
old quarterback, an injured one, and a good defense?
Do you make the case that the Steelers are actually the better team than the Minnesota Vikings? I understand what the Vikings did last year, but again, you have a very unknown commodity at the most important position for the Minnesota Vikings. So I think that's pretty interesting. It's also interesting to see how low the rating is on the Browns, as the Vikings the next week are 7-point favorites on a neutral against Cleveland. So it gives you an idea of how low this power rating is going to be for the Cleveland Browns. The other is, do we have Broncos and Jets, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Broncos and Jets. Where's that one at? That is London? Okay, so that one's in London.
Broncos laying 6.5.
6.5. Over there, that's, again, look, I understand Bo Nix made me look foolish. I think I readily admitted down the stretch last year, talked about it a ton. There were two teams that I couldn't get a read on because I think I was too low on both of them. It was the Broncos and it was the Commanders. The Commanders very much so. I got my teeth kicked in playing against them. I went back and looked for my contest plays last year. I think it was 1-6 in Commanders games or something like that. So I didn't have a read on these teams. Broncos, I think that there's a very strong argument to be made. They take a step back, and they're power rated very high for a team with a second-year quarterback. That's pretty interesting to look at that and go, 6.5 on a neutral. Denver, let's go.
Broncos will also be getting 4.5 on Christmas in Kansas City, taking on Chiefs. Total 44.5 there. The Black Friday game, the Bears, a 7-point favorite, hosting the Bears. 46.5 the number there. But we will, were there...
Is that Eagles-Bears that you're talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes, Eagles-Bears. Okay. 7-point spread there, 46.5.
All right. I hate myself for thinking this because I actually think we can talk about this another day. The product, Mitch and I talk about this all the time when we're sitting there and hating ourselves on a Sunday, which is the product actually stinks. The games themselves, but there's nothing like football season.
Yeah.
We're already talking
about.
Yeah,
I know. Well, and that's the thing. I want to be annoyed at it because I'm obviously very invested in the NBA and NHL postseason. Yet the NFL just is always there, and they do a good job of finding ways to keep you interested and keep you excited. And we are still waiting on pins and needles to find out if Aaron Rodgers is ultimately going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Some of us are waiting on pins and needles.
I'm still curious. Does he? I'm curious. What if he hoses them and he just decides he wants to retire and he doesn't come back?
Watching too much hockey.
Maybe.
Hose.
Speaking of which, let's get into that. Our VSiN hockey betting expert, Jonathan Davis, has an article up right now on VSiN.com with his best bets for tonight, as well as updated playoff trends and systems that he has been tracking. We do have one game tonight, which we can give some thoughts on in a moment. Jets Stars. Dallas leads that series 2-1, fresh off a 5-2 home win on Saturday. But yes, JVT, because you keep giving me crap for not bringing it up. Yes, the Golden Knights got shut out yesterday, okay?
I do want to I want to give our boy Jonathan credit, too, because I think he came on with that over when we were talking about coming off of a shutout, right? Carolina and Washington, and talking about those games going over in the next one. And sure enough, that was the case. But, yeah, dude, what the hell? This is now multiple games in this series where this team has been able to generate nothing in terms of offense against an Oilers team that I thought that this was the issue, right? I thought it was the blue line. I thought it was the goaltending. I thought that this was going to be one where you were going to be able to pepper shots and get high-scoring games. And sure enough, look, 2 of the games have gone over the total in this series. But look, you're 2-2 if you've played this series over each game and you're down a little bit of cash. And then again yesterday, this VGK team, just nothing.
Multiple power plays in the first period. Can't log more than 5 shots on goal. Yeah. It's absurd. Oilers looked better, faster, healthier, all of the above. They come out, by the way, Vegas first period over trend. That one continues 9-1 to the over in the playoffs in the first period. Game still stays well under, though, as you referenced. Stuart Skinner, with last night's win, this one per Jonathan, improved to 11-1 his last 12 starts when playing games 4 through 7 in a series. 2 goals or less in 10 of the 12, including 2 shutout performances. Golden Knights head coach Bruce Cassidy was asked by VGK insider Gary Lawless after the game how the VGK can respond in Game 5. Here's what he had to say.
Well, we have to start better, Gary. I mean, this is a couple games in a row now. We're chasing it, and we knew they'd come out better. We're a veteran group. It's on the coach to prepare the players. So, I take my share of the responsibility, but it's also a veteran group. They got to know that, listen, this team's going to be hungry. They're at home again. They come off a loss. So make sure we're on our toes. And I don't think there was enough players on their toes ready to go. So that'll be step 1 in Game 5. Make sure we push the envelope early and get to our game quicker. Because, we had been progressively, I thought, building our game, and today we took a step back.
Is he just specifically talking about yesterday? Because they have scored like multiple goals in the first periods and first and second periods throughout the course of the series. It was just yesterday that they had that slow start. Really, the finishing has been the issue, with the exception of the miracle 0.4 second goal from Riley Smith in Game 3.
It sounds like it. I don't know. I thought it was a lot of coach speak and nothing, but it's
okay. I'm like, I love you, Bruce, but you've had good starts. You haven't had good finishes.
So can I ask you this? The other side of this. This is an Oilers team that finished down the stretch, I think like 11-5-1 or whatever it was in the regular season. They're on the verge of now making it back to the conference finals once again. I mean, this team seems very dangerous, and it seems that we are very close toward potentially getting a rematch from last year in the Stanley Cup final.
Yes.
I mean, but how legitimate is this for the Oilers? I mean, they continue to play at this level, especially on defense, and when you have the high-level play with your front line, like the best player on the ice every time, why would I not buy in on this team winning the whole thing?
And that's why they're favored to do so all of a sudden. Yep. And you see Connor McDavid atop the odds board for Conn Smythe all of a sudden. It's just that's the way. And you look at even Game 5 back here in Vegas with the Golden Knights a -130 favorite. I don't know who wants to bet that. Not me. That's a game that I'm going to stay off of again because I don't know what I'm going to get from this Golden Knights team. Whereas for some reason, I'm not. No. Okay. Right. Leah Hextall will be on the call for that one.
Took one puck and you're out.
I know. They had to call. They had to submit an injury report via Disney Global Travel. But we made it out alive. We're good. If you want to come, speaking of travel, come out to Vegas. Come hang with us. Circa at circalasvegas.com right now. You can get all the information for a 2-night stay at Circa. $400 all-in price, no fees, no additives, except for what Circa is going to give you. $100 dining credit, $100 beverage credit, day bed at Stadium Swim. Go to circalasvegas.com for more information. We'll be right back.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Bet the Preakness Stakes with First Bet and get rewarded. New customers can use the promo code VSiN200 and score a 20% rebate on all wagers your first 60 days up to $200. That's win or lose. You get paid back. Download the First Bet app or visit first.com/bet. Use our promo code again, VSiN200. Get started today. That's first.com/bet. Promo code VSiN200. We are live on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, channel 158. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Good betting day overall yesterday for the show. Had a couple lucky wins on my behalf. We were talking about hockey last segment. I ended up late firing on a no goal in the first 10 minutes. They scored 10 minutes and 24 seconds in, guys. There you go. Went up by 24 seconds. That was the sweat that we were having. I was like, no freaking way that just happened. Had the Cubs F5 run line that was scoreless up until the bottom of the fifth when the Cubs bats finally got going. The Tigers, we were dead on about that line move being wonky yesterday with Detroit. And my loser was, of course, against your beloved Angels. Right. I had the Padres run line. We're looking good. Up 2 going into the 9th. Michael King doing great. Had a great start for the Pods.
Right.
6 runs in the top of the 9th.
Really, actually, the best possible outcome for me, which was getting a good Michael King start, 8 strikeouts, 2 earned runs, over 5 2/3, keeping the Cy Young ticket still alive.
Well, alive and well.
Right, and but then also the bullpen falling apart, and the Angels getting their 17th win of the season. So
you had one heartbreaker as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Yankees yesterday, that kind of stunk. Yesterday was the Mariners' first 5 play against the Yankees, also spitting in the face of the betting market. And going into the 5th, it was a 2-1 game for Seattle. And you're thinking, like, cool, let's get just 3 outs and let's get out of here. And then Emerson Hancock just implodes and gets bludgeoned for 6 runs in the top of the 5th inning. And then, that's all she wrote. It's 7-2 heading into the bottom of the 5th. So that was looking good. But then outside of that, like you said, baseball was fine. It's going to be interesting. The Celtics did not get there, obviously. But in terms of baseball, very interested to see what the schedule has. Baseball's been good, man. We've had some good baseball. The regular season has been fun so far. And,
you know how you call hockey stupid? Baseball is stupid when it comes to like just the way that some of these outcomes come through.
You'll bet on a team.
And again, we say that in a loving way.
Of course. You'll bet on a team, and then you'll watch them just smack 20 line drives straight to defenders where they don't even have to move. Like, they'll just sit there and just like, oh, cool, another one coming right at me. And you'll be like, what's happening? Like, this pitcher is giving up, like, hits where the exit velocity is 200 miles an hour, just getting absolutely nailed. But because the ball's just going to the perfect spot, nothing's actually happening for your team. So, yes, baseball is very stupid.
So let's dive into the card today because I mentioned the line move on Detroit yesterday. That's a game that drew my attention again today. Yep. So bet them yesterday, plus 105 is a short home dog. They lit it up 14-2 final, 11 of those runs coming in the first 3 innings. Now today, it's minus 108, so not too far off of the price we saw yesterday. Facing Bayo, who, yes, threw 4 starts for the Red Sox, 4.0, 2.01 ERA. But the expected ERA is 5.53, FIP 5.57, expected batting average against bad. The walks are a problem. He's not throwing a lot of swing and miss stuff. The only thing he's done is not allow runs, which leads me to believe that's due to change. I feel like this could be a good spot to fade him and back Detroit at home once again.
Yeah, I would agree with you that Bella seems like a guy that should be getting knocked around. Now, I guess the positive outside of everything, you mentioned it, and I think there's also a little bit of luck when it comes to the balls in play, 234 there, but he doesn't give up like a ton of hard contact, which kind of works for him, but it's like mind-blowing. Barrel rate to the 58th percentile, 63rd percentile in hard hit rate. So he's a guy that kind of pitches to contact, gets a lot of soft grounders or just some soft pop-ups, and then can get out of some situations if that's going to be the case. But I'm with you. Like, if you're not striking guys out, if you're going to walk them at a really high rate, and you're going to allow guys on, at some point, those balls are going to reach, and then all of a sudden you're going to get knocked around. And this Tigers lineup, I think, as we have talked about, they're very good, should be capable of making him pay. On the other side, Montero is expected to come in for the Tigers and get a bulk of the work today. He's not going to start. There's going to be an opener today, and then Montero's going to follow after that. Montero hasn't been great, and that's kind of, I think, the worry here is that maybe the Red Sox are going to be able to come in and get to what looks like a Johnny Holstaff game today for the Tigers. 4.15 ERA for Montero, 5.79 fielding independent, over 4 starts at 21 2/3. It's not really looking particularly fantastic if he's going to be out there, so maybe you go Tigers team total over as opposed to asking them to win the game, because if you expect them to get to Bello, but Montero and this pitching staff doesn't hold up their end of the bargain, and you get screwed. Yeah. So maybe that's something to look at here, as opposed to asking the Tigers to win the game outright or win the first 5.
I like that angle. Yesterday, by the way, with that result, they leapfrogged the Yankees, top run differential in all baseball right now, plus 84, top 8 in average slugging, OPS 4th in RBI. Yeah. What else called to you?
All right, so there was that game. Let's go to a little bit later. It's hard not to look at, again, this Yankees and Mariners series today, only because, again, it's pretty interesting, but also very quietly, the Mariners have lost 4 straight, and I think it's like 6 out of 8 or something like that. Like, they've been a little shaky, and I brought this up when we talked about this and actually wrote a piece today. It's up on the website at VSiN.com. I found a shop that had posted the Rangers at plus 325 to win the AL West. That's very off market from a lot of these other shops that have that market up right now, and I think that's worth it considering the fragile status, I think, of the Mariners at the top of the division. You know, this lineup has been churning out runs left and right, which has been surprising. I don't think that's sustainable, and the pitching staff has really been beat up, and we saw yesterday, like, Emerson Hancock had some numbers that I thought at least he can put them in position to potentially do something here, but he's still not great, and sure enough, that pops up. Brian Wu gets to start here today. Wu, I think, is a very good pitcher, but against this Yankees lineup, which has done tremendous work, especially making guys work and making your pitch count drive up a little bit here, maybe you're going to be able to at least chase Wu relatively early and get his pitch count up, and you're seeing this, like a $142 now in favor of the Yankees. The other part of it is Max Fried's getting the start, and Fried's been brilliant. 105 ERA. The fielding independent would tell you there's some regression due, but it's like from elite pitcher to extremely above average pitcher. So it's not like he is like chopped liver when you're talking about him regressing to the mean. So I think Yankees, if you wanted to go first 5 and lay that half a run with them against Wu and the Mariners, I think it was perfectly acceptable to potentially do that here today. But the Mariners' big picture are also pretty fascinating. Only 2 games up on a team like the Rangers, and the Rangers might be starting to turn things around, although I think Seager's going to hit the IL today.
And with the Rangers, they have good fortune of playing the Rockies right now. Which is...
although they needed the 2-run homer late.
Yeah, true.
They got their first hit in the 6th inning against the Rockies yesterday. So this lineup here, look, it's a little worrisome. I wrote about that in the piece here today too, where there's some like things you could point to that, hey, this team's going to turn it around. But the pitching has been fantastic for Texas. There's no question. But that was somewhat worrisome that I was thinking, like, maybe I'll write about the Rangers. And then I'm watching, I'm like, all right, I think I need them to beat the Rockies before I actually do this.
Good article up right now, though. If you want that full rationale, VSiN.com. When you are a subscriber, you don't have to worry about any of those article limits or anything. VSiN.com/subscribe to come join us on a full-term basis. The Diamondbacks and Giants, a little move here toward the D-backs. Coin flip game, -110 each way. Robbie Ray on the hill for San Francisco. Brandon Pfaadt for Arizona. Total 7.5. Robbie Ray's been pitching really well. I know the Giants lost 4 in a row, so maybe you're getting a little bit of a price than you would otherwise, but you've also liked this Diamondbacks team, so walk me through it.
Yeah, look, so this is, I haven't watched the show, but I get this reference. Did you watch Breaking Bad?
Yep.
All right, so this is like what's his name, Jesse... What's his last name?
Isn't it like Pinker?
So Pinkerton, whatever it is. He can't keep getting away with this thing, right? Like this, I feel like that's Robbie Ray to an extent because you look at some of these. Look, Pinkman, thank you, Pinkman.
Don't come for me on social media.
But like his strikeout numbers are down this year. He's not striking out guys like he used to throughout his career. It's still very good, but his walks are actually up. If you look at it from a walk rate standpoint, this would be the highest walk rate for Robbie Ray in a season in which he has actually, like, that he would qualify since I think like 2020 or whatever it is, like, and it's like the second high of his career. So his command has always been an issue, but it's a little bit worse this year. His strikeouts are down. Batting average on balls in play, he's getting pretty lucky, 234. That's kind of always been his thing throughout his career at times. But I do wonder if he's ever going to pay for his transgressions. And if there was a team that could potentially make you pay, it would be a team potentially like the Diamondbacks. Like we've talked about this, didn't really hit yesterday, but still one of the better lineups in Major League Baseball. I think that they could get to Ray if that's the case. If you look at it in terms of hitting for the Arizona Diamondbacks against lefties, last year they were a little bit better. This year they're middle of the pack. But I like this D-backs offense a lot, and I think that they could probably get after Ray. Pfaadt's not the best, but if you look at his numbers, he's kind of what you see is what you get. So be very curious to see if they can finally get to Ray here because I've been waiting for that to happen.
Last 60 seconds, Pirates and Mets. I like the Mets on the run line today, but I know we're going to have Dustin Swedelson on the show next, and he has an F5 bet going the opposite direction in this game. So I'm curious his rationale there.
He's a Mets fan, so he's probably just very pessimistic.
I really like Senga. ERA sub-2 at home. 0.61 ERA at home. Mets as a team, one of the best in baseball, even better at home, 16-5. Lineup is great. Third in MLB run differential, first in the league also in the 7th to 9th inning. So if there is a reason why he's going F5, probably because the Mets have been a really good closing team in a lot of these games. So that's why I took them full game. And I also do have them parlayed with the Rangers kind of fading the Rockies and the money line, putting those together.
Forgot to mention this yesterday, but we should note too with the Pirates, yesterday was Paul Skeens' day. Only 6 strikeouts. His numbers are kind of down this year in terms of swing and miss stuff. And again, goes under his strikeout prop. So we'll have to keep that, file that away for his next start.
Since April 24th, the Pirates have dropped 13 of 17 games, 5-15 on the road. Not good. Dustin Swedelson joining us next, host of VSiN Live.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Smarter bets start here and last all year long with VSiN Pro. For a limited time, we here at VSiN are slashing the price of our usual annual subscription, normally $240, for just $199. And when you sign up today, we're also throwing in an extra 2 months for free. So it's 14 months of VSiN Pro access for less than 50 cents a day when you use our promo code PRO. Get 14 months of access to our daily best bets from all of VSiN show hosts and guests, exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circus Sportsbooks, 24/7 live video and full show replays on the VSiN Watch app, plus all of our special edition betting guides. Yes, the NFL betting guide will be here before you know it. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe. Again, use that promo code PRO. Lock in 14 months of VSiN Pro for $199. That's VSIN.com/pro. JVT, Stormy Buonantony with you back here on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Very excited to welcome in our good friend, Dustin Swedelson, co-host of VSiN Live on Mad Dog Radio, Sirius XM Channel 82. You can catch him and Patrick Maher weekdays 4 to 7 Pacific, 7 to 10 Eastern. And Dustin, I know we've got some baseball bets to get into, but I actually want to start with the NBA here because I couldn't help but see your Twitter reaction to the Mavs landing the #1 overall selection in the draft lottery yesterday. He tweets, "I hope Cooper Flagg has a good dietitian." Have you seen some of these like social media photo edits of him maybe larger than he is now? Have you seen that stuff?
I have. Great to be with both of you. I am thrilled that this lineup has added you two to it together. If only there was someone behind the scenes that was pushing for this duo for, I don't know, the last 2 years. That person would deserve a raise, in my opinion. That person deserves a pat on the back because you two are awesome together. I love this show. The Cooper flag thing, I'm going to do that his entire career.
A lot. Yep,
Cooper flag thing. It's fascinating that he's going to Dallas because when this went down, we all said, the only logical conclusion is the conspiracy, guys. The only way this makes sense is a conspiracy, but we were waiting for that final piece to fall. Last night, we got our final piece, JVT. We got the conspiracy coming full circle. Everything is rigged. We are all sheep. We're all pawns in this game being played by the chess masters above.
So did that happen before or after Kyrie tore his ACL? When did the agreement take place?
No, again, this is all part of the master plan. We are just merely little tiny toys being moved around the board. We have no control over this. You just have to accept this, JVT. There are bigger things at play here, and the NBA understands that.
I'm not going to do this. I refuse to do this. Let's talk baseball. What do you got with the Pirates?
I just wanted to annoy you. I heard you earlier. You don't like the conspiracy. I had to do that.
I love that you came in hot like that, Dustin. Yes, amazing. But like he said, I am curious your thoughts on the Pirates here. I'm on the Mets for the full game, but why do you like the Pirates on the first 5? What about Mitch Keller spoke to you?
It's kind of just the numbers where I can get plus a half run at plus money when I can combine that in a spot where, look, I love Kodai Senga. This may be the last chance to bet him for Cy Young at 22-1. I'm seeing that at DraftKings where he's been awesome. But the problem is we also have to look at the context of who he's faced. 4 of his 7 starts against Miami, the Athletics, and the Nationals, okay? He's a really, really good pitcher, but let's see how he does today. Let's see him keep it going. And I understand the Pirates aren't a great offensive team by any means, but this is an opportunity where I think this could be a tie game through 5. I think it could be a low-scoring game through 5, and we get runs late. Because of that, I like that plus a half run at plus 115 on a guy with Mitch Keller who really hasn't been great this year, but he has been good against the Mets. 4 starts in his career, 3-1 record, a 2.00 ERA. I just couldn't pass up plus in a game that I think could potentially be tied through 5.
All right, what about Mariners and Yankees? I was making the case for the Bronx Bombers in this first 5 innings, and it sounds like you're in the same wavelength, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this number was going to be bigger. Did you think so, JVT? I thought Max Fried, the way he's going, I thought it'd be priced at like Yankees minus 160. He's got a 105 ERA, 6-0 on the year. He's faced Seattle twice in his career, 6 shutout, no-hit innings a season ago. And Seattle's middle of the pack against Southpaws this year. They were atrocious, by the way, last year. And Brian Wu, he's had 2 good starts against the Yankees, but the last time he saw this lineup, 7 earned runs. And I just think it's a bad matchup for Seattle. The Yankees offense, it's the best in baseball. Over their last 6 games, this team's won 5 games. They have a 301 batting average, a 996 OPS, 16 homers, and they're averaging 9.3 runs per game. Whereas Seattle, they play a lot of low-scoring games. They rely on that pitching a lot. They've lost 4 in a row, and they're averaging 3 runs per game in that span. I just think with Fried on the bump, Seattle's getting nothing, and the Yankees will get to someone for Seattle, whether that's Wu or that's the bullpen. They're going to score runs. They score runs against everyone, and I just don't think the Mariners can keep up.
The Braves nearly ruined what was a 2-run lead. They're able to come back and beat the Nationals 4-3 in game 1 of what is a 4-game set. Today, Spencer Schwellenbach on the hill, a minus 225 favorite against Michael Soroka and the Nats in game 2. Run total 8. Anything that stood out to you in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go first 5 over 2.5 runs. It's at minus 120. And I know it's hard to back the Braves offense this year, right? I mean, they're just not what we're used to seeing from Atlanta. But Mike Soroka is a guy who's made 2 starts this year. He's a former Brave. He's actually had some really horrible career moments on that field in Atlanta. 4 earned runs in 5 innings in both starts for Soroka. And teams are getting to him second, third time through the order. But I think the second time is all the Braves are going to need here. They know him well. They're familiar with him. And if he happens to get knocked out before the 5th, that means the Braves scored more than 2.5 runs. And if the bullpen happens to come in and we're sitting at 2, I do think with Washington's bullpen being the worst in the league, a 7.08 ERA this year, I think Atlanta gets to him. You look at the Braves, this is a big one for them. They can get back to 500 with a win. I think they're going to be dialed in against Soroka. Michael Harris has started to get going for them. 333 average over his last 7. The rookie Drake Baldwin has been raking, hitting 500 over his last 7 games. And Atlanta, they're better at home. 7.13 OPS at home versus 612 on the road. They're just a better team at home. And I think one thing that's worth noting with Atlanta and this offense, as it begins to warm up across the country, but more specifically in the South, they have the 3rd highest elevation among stadiums in Major League Baseball. It's Colorado, Arizona, and Atlanta. I feel like that's a fact not a lot of people know. I think the ball is going to start jumping more, and this offense will get going. And I think this is a very good matchup against Soroka.
Any other player props you like today?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2 guys that kill lefties taking on Cade Povich of the Orioles. So we'll go with the Twins, Byron Buxton, Carlos Correa. We can get plus money over 1.5 total bases for Buxton at plus 108, over 1.5 total bases for Correa at plus 116. I mean, when Cade Povich is on the bump, we just look for opportunities to fade him, guys. I mean, he's a soft throwing lefty that he gets hit around by a lot of guys. Buxton is 2 of 5 with 2 doubles against him versus lefties this year, hitting 346. Correa, 2 of 6 with a homer against Povich, career 289 hitter against Southpaws, hitting 333, a homer over his last 5 games. He's been awesome on the year against lefties, hitting 364 with an 1100 OPS. I think at worst we go 50-50, and at plus money, we're up either way, but there's a very good chance both these guys have big days against Cade Povich, who everyone kind of mashes.
I saw as well there are a couple NBA props you like with the 2 games coming up tonight. What stood out to you most?
Yeah, it's one of those deals where I've had to stop going by the numbers, guys. I have had to create the narratives that lead to finding these player props, because a lot of what went on during the regular season just isn't translating to the postseason. And because of that, I'm going to go with Max Strus today. So Strus is better, obviously, when a lot of those guys are out of the lineup for Cleveland, but I'm not sure of the health of everyone right now. We don't know the status of Donovan Mitchell. Even if he plays, I think he's going to need some help. And I also think there's a reason that Garland missed a bunch of games with that toe, even though he returned and looked good. Hunter missed a game there. I think they're going to need a few more minutes from Strus. And he's been really good in this series. He had 35 and 34 PRA in games 2 and 3 when he played 30-plus minutes. So we're looking for him to get about 26, 27 minutes tonight, and he can go over his 21.5 PRA, because I just think he's a guy who seems very comfortable. He has postseason experience, and he's a guy that Cleveland can rely on if Mitchell can't give them what they normally get offensively from him tonight.
Oh, sorry. Is that me? I forgot. All right, let's go with Isaiah Hartenstein. Sorry, I got lost. I apologize. It happens every once in a while. Nothing
You're good.
OKC in Denver?
Here's the narrative. The narrative is simple. Oklahoma City needs this win at home. They need to take the series lead. Jokic is tired. The big body of Hartenstein, they need him to be in his way. They need him to be on the floor. They need him to be physical. Over 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's capable of dishing out 3, 4, 5 dimes in a game. So you want to include the assists in this prop. He's averaging 24.5 PRA in this series. And I just think he's vital to their success tonight. So Hartenstein's the guy I'm looking for at over 23.5 combined PRA.
Dustin, you're the GOAT. We appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for doing this.
You guys are the best. Love seeing this show. You're doing a great job.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Give
Dustin.
this man a raise. Dustin Swedelson, co-host, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Radio, again, Sirius XM, Channel 82. Catch him later on tonight, 4 to 7 Pacific. We are seeing those 10s get snapped up, by the way, from the Denver Nuggets.
Not surprising. It seems like a big one. We'll have to have more on this in a player prop angle, too, to discuss.
Ooh, you love to see it. Best bets as we round out this Tuesday edition of the program coming up after this.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Wrapping up this Tuesday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Time for some best bets of the day, presented by G Bank, the official bank of VSiN. What do you want to give out here?
I think there's a couple things. First off, look, everything is like I said earlier. I feel like I'm playing catch up in this postseason, trying to play against this zigzag because the numbers I think are out of whack. We'll fly in the face of it one more time. I will be on the 15 side, meaning again, if you're just betting straight up losers, you are 31-15-1 against the spread. I will go with the Pacers +8 here today against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think the number's too much. I don't understand that what we have seen here, just because the Cavaliers are in a desperation spot, they should be priced as a team that is head and shoulders better than the Indiana Pacers. I thought that was the case. I think if you replayed this series and everybody's fully healthy, I think there's a pretty solid chance that we're not here, which is 3-1 back in Cleveland in Game 5. But regardless, that's not what we're doing. We are at a 3-1 deficit for Cleveland, who's very beat up, injured. Donovan Mitchell, who knows how healthy he is. I think that 8 is too much. So we'll go against it again. We'll try to see if we can get this, but the play-up principle has not worked out, and we'll see if I can get my face caved in one more time.
No, and I hate that I agree with you again, too. Right. I want to present more devil's advocate with you, but especially if you can get that full 8, that makes all the sense in the world. I don't have any trust in the Cavs, especially with Donovan Mitchell compromised. Like, even if he plays, what version of him are we going to get? And you've got all these other guys that are fighting ailments, and the Pacers have just looked so good. This isn't a best bet, but I am curious your thoughts on the Pacers' big picture now in some of those futures odds boards to win the conference, win the NBA title.
I mean, I think they could beat New York. It seems like that's what we're headed for, is an Indiana-New York Eastern Conference Finals. Look, they're deeper than the New York Knicks. Their offense is tremendous, and the Knicks, as we have discussed many times, have struggled defensively against some of the top-tier offenses in the National Basketball Association, and Indiana is one of them. They have the ability to go after this Knicks team, so I'm going to be very interested to see how that series is played, but at first blush, give me Indiana. I think they can win that series. And narrative-wise, I know the ratings wouldn't love it, but Indiana making it to an NBA Finals is going to be a great story, but the team's deep. They're very well constructed. They deserve a ton of credit for what they have done here up to this point, and that should be clear, too. Like, injuries have played a role in this series, but the Pacers did come back from down 7 with 40 seconds left in Game 2. The Pacers did mollywop this team in Game 4. Like, they have done what they needed to do to take advantage of this, and they deserve to be here and deserve to get to the Eastern Conference Final.
Was there anything that stood out to you in Thunder Nuggets? We saw this as high as OKC favored by 10.5. 10 when we were on the air today. Those 10s are getting snapped up to where at DraftKings right now it's a 9.5 point spread totaled to 20.5.
Yeah, so this is why I actually brought this up with Justin Fan, who was with us earlier from Unabated, because this is something that's worth monitoring tonight. It is the role of one Luguentz Dort this evening. Lou Dort got benched in the fourth quarter over the weekend against the Denver Nuggets. His shooting has not been good in this series at all. And Dagnall, he did this with Josh Giddey when he was part of the roster, but Dagnall has shown that he is not scared of, look, if you're not shooting well and you're a problem in terms of spacing, I will give the other guy a shot. We will move on from here. We will make that adjustment. And Cason Wallace has done a pretty good job. He's also a very good defender. He is more slight than Lou Dort, but you don't lose much in terms of lateral agility and ability to defend along the perimeter when you put a guy like Cason Wallace out there. So that, to me, is the dynamic. 8.5 is the point prop for Lou Dort. Cason Wallace's point prop is around like 5.5, 4.5. But that is a dynamic that very much, I think, right, you know how like in fantasy football where you draft the handcuffed running back so you can like kind of get there and say, hey, all right, if that guy goes down, I've got the dude that's got the workload here. I think Cason Wallace is that handcuff today. And if Lou Dort's not going to perform up to the level of expectations, I don't think it would be surprising to see him hit the bench once more if this game is tight and Cason Wallace goes out there. And the other part about this that I think is interesting, let's say the market's right and that the Thunder deserve to be 10-point favorites, which would lend itself to a little bit of a blowout here today. Cason Wallace could get more run later in the game where you're talking about it's a little bit lopsided, right? You're going to get some of the bench guys out there. So I think Wallace is going to be an interesting dynamic to track here in this game because there's so much that I think points to him having a pretty decent night.
Okay, most of my best bets are in MLB today. I am doing a 2-leg money line parlay with the Mets and Rangers together. Pair those big favorites up. You get an even money price on the two of them, fading two of the worst teams in baseball in the Pirates and Rockies, respectively. I'm also doubling down on the Mets for the run line, full game, -115. We talked about this a little bit, and even if you did want to go Dustin's direction and take the Pirates run line F5 approach, thinking that this could be tied or maybe the Pirates have an edge early on in this one, the Mets have been so good the back end of games closing things out. They are first in the league in the 7th to 9 innings run differential. They're third overall for the full game, but specifically late in games, they've been awesome. So even if Mitch Keller has a good game, I don't think that you're particularly concerned about the Mets bats waking up. They are 8th in batting average, 5th in slugging and OPS. At home, 16-5. Kodai Senga for New York, ERA sub-2. At home, it's even better. So I like that angle of it, especially with how bad Pittsburgh is specifically on the road. And then I'm trying to find a way to back the Tigers. And I was initially looking at just money line as a home price at -108 here. You know how much I love this Tigers offense. With Bello out there for Boston, yes, he's been great. 4-0, 2.01 ERA, but the expected numbers aren't really there. And I do think he's somebody that could be ripe to get hit. And
Bludgeoned?
so, yeah, I think that this is a good fade spot against Detroit. So -108 money line, or the team total for runs, as you mentioned earlier, is 3.5, but it's juiced to -140. What about an alternate team total 4.5 at +130?
Yeah, makes sense.
I think that could be.
To that, I would say,
way.
hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.
That's right.
Okay, so those are my baseball plays tonight.
All right. I did. Let's see. I'm with Dustin. Mariners, Freudian slip. Yankees first 5 minus the half run. You can get that at +105. D-backs first 5 as well, -110, just the money line there. And then, like I mentioned, I did write about this. BetMGM's a little off market when you look at something like all the other spots for the Rangers. I think the Rangers to win the AL West is worth the price that's out there at MGM at +325. All the other spots are like +220 or somewhere in that range for Texas. Again, we'll see what happens with Seager. I haven't seen whether or not he is officially on the IL. He kind of strained the hamstring over the weekend. We'll see if he misses a little bit more time. But when he's back, he should be a great addition to this lineup. He has been having a great hitting season when he's been fully healthy. This rotation is great. I mean, across the board, Molly, as we have talked about many times on the show, has been absolutely tremendous. Nathan Eovaldi is brilliant, had another brilliant start against Detroit. And very quietly, and I understand any trepidation about this, but very quietly over his last 5 starts, Jacob deGrom has been dealing. And so if you're going to get that, they need to shore up the back end of the bullpen a little bit. Luke Jackson yesterday took a liner off the hand. It swelled up. Don't know if he's going to miss time. He also hasn't really been that great. But there's a lot to point to that at the very least, when you talk about the prices around this team to win the American League West, I think +325, a little off market, very much worth looking at there.
Yeah, make sure if you want that full breakdown and rationale, head over to VSiN.com. You can get the full article. Also, with these best bets presented by GBank, the official bank of VSiN, if you check out the GBank Visa Signature Card today, it's good to know most credit cards treat sportsbooks and gaming transactions like cash advances. GBank treats those transactions as purchases. They save 3 to 5% on cash advance fees and gaming transactions right there. Also, with GBank, you're earning 1% cash back rewards on all eligible sportsbook and gaming transactions and 2% cash back on all eligible purchases. So apply now, VSiN.com/GBank. That's VSIN.com/GBank. Last couple minutes here. We do have one game in the National Hockey League today. The Dallas Stars up 2-1 against the Jets, -155. Home favorites. Total in this one 5.5. And I understand a lot of the thought process that people want to believe that the President's Trophy winning Winnipeg Jets can still find a way, even up this series. I don't see it. The Jets have yet to win a single game on the road this postseason. The narrative about Connor Hellebuck in the playoffs is warranted, and the numbers haven't been good. He is even worse on the road. 1 win, his last 11 games on the road in the postseason. He's given up 4 goals or more 9 times, 5+, 6 times. And this in Jonathan Davis's article today, the Jets have lost by 3 goals or more in 9 of those 10 losses. Sure, hypothetically, that can come to an end. I just don't see it today. I like Dallas. I like Dallas puck line if you even want to bump that up to a plus money price. Regulation, same thing, to kind of take away the juice, take the edge off that -155. They won the last game 5-2, and I think that offense continues to come to play on home ice.
All right. I'm down. I have nothing to add to that. That was all brilliant analysis.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant!
I'm not being sarcastic. It was
Hell
a
yeah,
good
brother.
Yeah, see?
That's our new
I got
thing.
you.
We're going to make it. I do like that.
It's my thing. I love it. I love a good hell yeah, brother.
We need to get you with like a nice bleach handlebar
Does he say
facial
that?
hair
What's
thing.
his face?
It's Hulk Hogan,
yeah,
right?
Hulk Hogan.
Isn't it?
Does he say that?
I believe so.
We should use a lot of Hulk Hogan stuff. He doesn't have anything troublesome in his background, though.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Just whatever you do, though, just don't like rip your shirt off in the middle of a show when you say it.
By the way,
family-friendly viewing.
Since we're here, I mean, Doris Burke, very brave yesterday. You got to be careful with that stuff.
Slow play saying Knickerbocker.
Yeah.
Slow play. That was wild. Like the Twitter was ablaze with commentary on that. She handled it well though. Very impressive.
Who's this?
Oh, throw that up real quick on the way out. Here is the tweet I was talking about when Dustin Swedelson joined us. TJ Hinchings posting that one.
I feel like Cooper Flagg will take better care of himself.
That is, I mean, the Photoshop. Excellent. Keep it locked right here on VSiN. Prop points coming up after this. Thanks for hanging out, everybody.